Greetings YouTube, welcome to my latest weapons build. This one is going to be deceptively simple. I want to marry this star here, which is made out of, I believe, cast iron. I can't quite tell if it's cast iron or wrought iron. And it's not a decorative piece from the current era, it's vintage at least. I don't know if it's antique. And I don't want to harm it in any way, shape, or form, so I'm not going to be bringing that hole out larger, because I could bring it out and get a nice tight fit like that, but I don't want to touch that inside diameter on that one. So what I'm going to do is, after I modify this bat, I will use a piece of threaded rod, some nuts, and some washers to hold the whole thing together. And this is literally a piece of scavenged rod that cost me nothing. And I say deceptively simple because really all I need to do is cut a slot here, or drill 2 holes, 1, 2 for the slot to come to. Assembling, you're done, right? Well, not so much. I want to do it like this, so that when I'm finished, it's gonna look like that. And I like the scale of the star to this particular T-ball bat. I think it's a nice ratio. I also like the concept that I'm going to be calling it the All-Star Mace. It's a little play on baseball terms. And I want to set it up so the T-ball is going to be visible when I'm done. So that's this decorative side will be facing the T-ball logo, and the plain back side will be facing away. The deceptively simple thing is that I want to drill a hole that will come here. So the bottom of the hole is going to go. The hole is going to go right across the bat. It's going to come to right about here, and that will let this whole thing sit on that point of wood. And it's going to have to be drilled that width. So this is thicker than this one, and that one will be the diameter of the hole. I don't know what that is yet. I have to measure it. I think it's 1/2 inch. And then I also want to drill. I also want to cut 2 slots for these, but I want those to be at an angle because I want these to be sitting on wood. So the inside of the bat, if everything works out, is going to have a wooden slope for both of these points. And I say deceptively simple because I am not a carpenter. I put my wife and I put a new lock in a door recently, and it required chiseling out some wood, for the plates, so everything would sit flush in the door frame. And I am abysmal at that. I really am. I don't like doing it. I don't feel a sense of control when I'm doing it. I am much more comfortable with an angle grinder in my hands. I am not a carpenter by any stretch of the imagination. I am definitely not the second coming of Christ. So, by the way, is Don Mattingly an important name? I'm not sure. But that's what I want to do. So I get this to sit on that point, and then I need to get these 2 slopes, which will require me to figure out how wide it's going to be, then make a mark on the outside, and then chisel out the wood between the slope and the slot that I have already cut. So I'm going to be doing some cutting on this, which is going to be difficult because I don't have a really good setup for holding a piece of wood like this vertically, because my shop is not set up for carpentry. So I'm going to have to see if I can figure out a better way to do it, because some of the ways I've used in the past have been hinky at best. I would like to find a better one, because the problem is that my vise doesn't really swing over space, and the jaws aren't really good at grabbing. They don't come out far enough. Maybe I can monkey something up to make the jaws extension. Maybe I can come up with a jaw extension. That's an idea. Maybe I can create a jaw extension that would solve that problem. Because all it's got to do is hold the bat vertically, so I can use a handsaw on it. So I'm not doing a power saw on this. This is all going to be done by hand. I guess I get a nice draw style Japanese saw, so that shouldn't be the problem. It's just that holding that vertically is a pain in the butt. So yeah, that is. Okay. Alright, so figure out what that is. Make a mark on the make a slot, make a drill a hole, and also drill a hole for this, 3/8 for that one, through here, and then lay out some lines so that I can then come in follow those lines when I'm cutting the slots. and then hope everything fits together. Yes, indeedy. And again, this is not much of a cost. I think I paid $2 for this bat at a yard sale. And again, I think I paid this for this $3 at Goodwill. They don't think they really knew what they had, and that's okay. I just don't want to hurt it in the event that it actually is, you know, vintage or something. I don't want to harm it. It's a nice piece of steel. I happen to have a fondness for steel. So I will just work on this, get that to fit here, and then use a slightly smaller diameter fastener. Because when I'm done, I will be able to exert enough force with that to pinch it solid on this one. And if I can get that to sit on wood, it's not going to torque on me. And that's my big concern. I don't want it torquing on me. So we'll see how this works out. Okay, so first thing I got to do is figure out what holes I want for that, and then drill holes for that width and that rod. Okay, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I almost screwed up. I started drilling the 5/8 hole on that, which is my through hole, which is supposed to be 3/8, but I stopped, so the rest of it is 3/8. And I completely lucked out on this, because when I put the threaded rod in there, and I was going to do a visual check to see that if this was sitting parallel to this channel, by, you know, making sure that the gap between the rod and this lip and the rod on that lip are the same. Nope, this rod rides on my V-block. It's complete happenstance that, you know, the diameter of this object and everything just kind of lined up for me. But that was just, I won on that one, because all I had to do was ride that, and then I had this here to help me give me a little more support while I was drilling, and I just held it with my hand with a the cut resistant glove on my hand, which also gives me a better grip. It also protects my hand from the drill bit. So yeah, by the way, don't ever use a drill with any kind of glove that's going to have a weave like cotton or Kevlar or something like that, because it will catch here, it will pull your finger in, and I have seen what happens when that occurs, and it's ugly as hell. So be careful. Use leather, use cut resistant, use something like that, and you'll be fine. But yeah, but don't ever use something that can be actually hit with your glove and cause a grab your glove and pull it in, because that's really dangerous. Okay, so now that I've got that done, now it's time to lay out some lines from here up parallel, so I can then have an idea where I'll be cutting my two cuts, so that I can get this piece of wood out of the way, and then I can start working on those two slopes I need to chisel in place. So this could be described as a janky-ass solution. So this right here is a carpenter's vise, which I plan on installing on a bench. I'm currently working on the plans on in my head. I have started the process, but I have not finished it. So because it's not installed, I have it available to me. So I put it into my plumber's vise. So that's holding it vertical, and then I'm now using that to hold the bat vertical. That is a janky ass solution, but by the gods, it may just work. So now I have the line set up here and here. So now I have to just come in here and go whoosh and cut along those lines right on through on down. So yeah, we're going to see how that goes and see if I can, like, you know, not drive myself insane while trying to do this, because again, I am not a carpenter. So we're going to give it a shot and see what occurs. So I have that section of the groove complete. It is fits the widest part of here, which is roughly 5/8 of an inch. And now I have to working on that section. So I'm going to have to make the back section flat. So that needs to, because this is asymmetric. So I have to make that cut here, and then make the other one a little further in, so it comes in like that. So I have to figure out what that is. I haven't measured it yet. And then I have to do some layout lines, and there will be no drilling involved. And this time I will be cutting, I'll be figuring out how far I want it to go in. I'll probably short it a little, because, you know, it's always easier to take more off. You can't add it back. And then come in at an angle, that angle right there, hopefully, because I'm kind of going to be doing this blind. Again, I'm not a carpenter, So I'm going to be trying to just chink, 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 and you know, chiseling that out. And it's going to be a little bit difficult because I have to clamp this thing onto my workbench like this so that I can work on it, because I really don't have any other way to hold this thing, because I don't want to hold it just in my pipe wrench here, my pipe vise, because it's going to be flopping all over the place, you know what I mean? So I'll be clamping it like this, here and there. Hopefully I can get that to stay down for me. So now I have to do some layout lines and figure out where I want the chisel, and I'll be using a 1/2-inch chisel here, 1/2-inch chisel to put, you know, put the straight line in, put the cross grain cut, and then the other straight line, and then just start chiseling between those two lines up to that mark. At least that's the theory. I was wrong. I know, how unusual. This is how I ended up holding it when I was chiseling out the groove, and I've got the groove just big enough with 2 slopes to hold this and give me just enough clearance to get this through the bat, through the center, and out the other side. So now I have to measure this and cut it to length, and then it's measure what I need and cut it to length, and then assemble it, and then we're done with this project. That's the center that I took out. You know, and if I keep doing this for long enough, you know, I'm going to go from being a crappy carpenter to being a less crappy carpenter. And there we have one all-star mace. Now the astute amongst you may have noticed that I actually cleaned the top of my bench. I know, it's amazing. It's astounding what serotonin will do when you have it in your brain. So this is my all-star mace. It came out very nicely. And again, it was a little bit more woodworking than I'm used to doing, but I need to get used to using chisels. I will be using more of them in my life, I'm sure. As I know myself, as I begin to figure out how to use a tool, I begin to figure out ways I can use it more. That's how engineering works. That's why Star Trek annoys me so much. But yeah, it came out very nice. It's nice and solid, not going anywhere. I like the fact that the logo and everything lines up like this. It almost looks like a shooting star. And you know, you get the whole all-star baseball theme going on there. So now I'm going to take this outside, get some stills for this video and from my DeviantArt page, which you should go follow me on, because that's the permanent home of all of my weapon builds, as far as stills are concerned. And you should also follow me on Instagram, because you'll see the bargains I find, the builds I find, the salvage I find, as well as adorable cat pictures. And who doesn't love an adorable cat picture? Alright folks, thanks for being here, and I hope that you'll come back for the next build.